Hey, it's Soul, and the embargo is lifted. Today we're going to be talking about the new things we've learned about player housing. Blizzard flew me out to Boston to attend the World of Warcraft 30th anniversary celebration, and I got to meet viewers and devs and fellow creators, but you probably don't care about Preach giving me a hard time during Hot Pod or trying to scream camera setup tips in the middle of a concert. So this past Monday, Blizzard took a select few of us to their Boston office for a media summit, making some of us the first players outside of Blizzard to check out a demo of player housing, specifically on interior decorating, and I really suck at it. But I also have additional information after interviewing some of the leads for player housing. I can't air the actual interview because reasons, but I can share what I learned from it. So today I'm going to tell you what I've learned, what was said, and my impressions on the building side of housing because, again, that was the focus. If you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, and catch me where I'm live. Between chatting and discussion, I say we had a good 3 or so hours of actual play time to figure out the controls and, play with what's what. Of course, I'm going to bloviate throughout this video because that's what I do, and I'm all sorts of excited to talk about this stuff, so I'm going to run through a whole bunch of bullet points of things that you probably want to know. I'll have a bunch of timestamps, even if it's just like a quick 10-second blurb. Anything that you don't hear about, it's because it wasn't part of the demo on Monday, or I just wasn't able to extract information from the developers I interviewed, who go by the name of Toby Regini, who is a lead designer, and Jay Huang, who does principal art. I'm going to let you down early. Specifically, they didn't give us much of a peep about outdoor decoration, although we do have an idea thanks to all this fabulous B-roll we now have going around. What you're going to see gives some idea of their vision and the intent, which appears to be very lofty. We also got nothing new on neighborhoods, but I have a feeling in the near future we'll learn about their utility, as in things that we can access or build or unlock as a small 50 or so person community. It's likely going to be the next big housing blog post, which might come out a month from now, it might be today, who knows. I also asked about weapon and armor racks, which were not available in the demo we were trying out. They were pretty cagey about it, but that may also be brought up very soon. We also didn't learn anything new about professions or how to get new appearances because obviously, while they're related, they're technically profession and reward kinds of questions, and that's handled by a different team. The focus, again, was the hands-on experience of bringing our imaginations to life. The team has been very open to feedback. It's why they announced housing those many months ago. Lots of changes had already happened since November because folks like you and I had been speaking up. Right now is also it's a very open window for feedback. Even if we might debate in the comments, or even if we might shut each other's ideas down, sometimes it's important to at least speak up. One example, one topic included how to control people visiting neighborhoods or houses. Like someone asked, what if you have a big streamer hold a party somewhere and it brings the housing or the neighborhood realms to their knees? So can there be filters? Can the house owner have a cover charge to enter a home? That sort of thing. They didn't even have yes or no answers to these sorts of questions, probably because they haven't gotten to that stage yet, but they just kept leading us on with more questions and they were jotting stuff down. One of the earlier blog posts mentioned how we can maybe place only one unique item in a house, like the Onyxia head. The vibe that I'm getting at the moment is this sounds like a negotiable thing. Maybe they won't commit to single-use uniques, and if you feel the same way, comment about it below. Heck, comment on a whole bunch of things, like in a big wall of text in there. It's a good place to do it because they're likely to see them these days, and I might want to pair it off some of what you might be saying too. Housing is as customizable as the videos are making it out to be, and then some. The ability to warp and shape and position things the way you want to makes housing feel like a painter's canvas, and decor, the items, they're merely the tools that you use to create your own expression. Some of what you see here is deceptive. Some objects have been sized up or down or maybe angled to achieve a different effect. For example, these wooden foundations here, they're made of multiple pillars actually. They're just angled together to create this illusion of having larger looking supports. During the summit, the lead on Decor, who was one of the developers I interviewed, he did a demo where he created a restaurant out of a single room. He used a staircase that climbed up to this upper loft. He set up a second floor with tables and a balcony. He set up more pillars and rails for support. And he did this very, very inventive thing where he took a steel-looking table and phased it into a larger box to create kind of a stove. And then he took some large barrels, shrunk them down, and phased them into that box, with that table to create what looked like burners. And then he took some candles and shrunk those down too, and phased it in to simulate like a lit burner. Some people, they made these tight, cozy spaces during the demo. Others like me, we just kind of experimented. Like I did like this thing with makeshift windows that simulated the outside. I threw up some flamingos trying to like walk through the water, and I slapped a bunch of windows onto a slab and pointed it down to brighten things up. On the subject of lighting, there are various candles that you can click to light up and turn off. There are fixtures, and very important, there are windows to achieve this brighter room effect. A suggestion that I'd love to see put in, I want to control the ambient light in the house because it's all perfectly lit otherwise, even without any lighting. But I think it'd be very cool to be able to adjust the lighting here as well as the light sources that I decide to put up, whether they're lamps or windows, to create more vibrant contrast or something kind of spooky. Changing the color of these light sources too, that would be very cool. Meanwhile, collision is fully implemented even when objects are suspended into the air and rotated all funny, meaning that we can stack tables and platforms and planks and more to create maybe like jumping puzzles. Early reactions from months ago are what prompted them to add these newer blocks and other shapes to create customized stairs. And with this in mind, now we can make rooms with secret passages that you have to maybe be a smaller race or have to shrink down to navigate through. There are a bunch of different room shapes and sizes, from small closets to L or T-shaped rooms to rooms with pre-built staircases to very large and tall rooms, so you can build like crazy vertical towers or multi-wing homes with interior balconies and secret passageways, you name it. You can't exactly build a sub-level basement, but you can sort of go around that by simply creating walls and platforms to create this, I don't know, like a lower landing when you first enter the home, and then you climb up some stairs to this main floor, while now you have this kind of basement below you. I bet that once we see enough assets, we can simulate maybe an outdoor garden, like a Japanese style old house, and so much more. It was broken at the time, but you can make 10 rooms in all in a single house. Now, I'm not sure if there's going to be restrictions or costs for those, but it does open up the potential for incredibly large homes or guild halls. The one thing missing, though, seemed to be individual dorm-like rooms, but at least according to the room sizes and everything, you'll be able to just carve them out yourselves by placing walls in. I think the large rooms were something around 600 to 800 square yards. It was kind of hard to measure, and unfortunately I tried to reach out, they wouldn't tell me the exact size specifically. And from this older screenshot here, these dots on the side indicate where room connectors are, and we can then choose the room type as long as it fits. This includes rooms with stairs which can also stack on top of each other. So that means the house itself, the rooms, the floors and all, is a single instance with no additional load time. But I should remind you folks that in this B-roll footage, you never see the actual borders of each room. Every instance is shaped with walls or obscured by decor. This shot here happens to be one of the rooms with pre-built stairs that run across the walls, but clearly this can get filled up. And by the way, this room is considered medium-sized in the tooltips. There was a lot of decor available that, off the top of my head, it covered the likes of humans and orcs, Zandalari trolls, Worgen, Draenei, Night Elves, Tauren, Blood Elves, Goblins, and the rest I don't remember very well. There was still kind of a lot. When it comes to cadence, the devs' answers were kind of curt. They basically asked, well, when does the WoW team add items? Pretty much every patch. And it could come from everywhere, including the trading post, which wasn't mentioned earlier, and legacy quests, and achievements, and of course, as new activities and content are unveiled. Considering what's coming out during Season 2 of The War Within, think about this, think about the zone content, and the seasonal activities, including delves, and nightfall, and horrific visions, and pretty soon we're going to be reintroduced into Battle for Azeroth Time Walking, and more story quests. We can get decor from all of these things, and not to mention the occasional Twitch drop. And that also includes the shop. During the demo, we pointed out, strangely, there's a shop tab that was located as part of the housing chest. It just didn't work during testing. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that, mostly because like we already know where the shop is. It's all tucked away in that shop button in the corner or in the main menu, and I really don't think we need additional reminders. Like really, we don't need anything that feeds the narrative. Blizzard's putting a big focus on using player housing as a revenue generator. I mean, they say they're not. I think they should show that they're not by not showing anything. Anyway, it still won't be surprising to see Decor attached to season achievements like rated PvP and raids, Mythic Plus, and delves. But my prediction, the difference of this, more prestigious appearance will be like Onyxia's head versus Onyxia's head with like glowy eyes. Nothing super distinct. Their intent is to limit FOMO to those typical moments of prestige. For now, at least, the vibe is they don't want housing to replace the city in almost any respect, outside of maybe a Hearthstone or a mailbox. So from the sounds of it, no auction house, no bank. Even the question of profession tables was answered with, oh, it's still in discussion. So they were a bit coy talking about if neighborhoods would have this kind of city-like feel or utilities like profession tables, but it almost looks like neighborhoods are going to function like not the city, but more like a village with a local area for, I don't know, but they want to draw a line somewhere. They definitely don't want housing to feel required, like the garrison, like players must go there to get something done, or it's going to be a path to obtain better gear. That's a very clear line that they don't want to cross. No one should have to do housing, but they intend to continuously develop housing to keep the excitement up for those who are interested. Like, hey, I got this new thing that I might want to put up, or now this inspired something new that I want to do a full teardown and try something new. It's kind of like how we get new armor or transmog at the end of a thing, and we decide whether we want to participate in changing our gear. They want housing to be accessible very early, but they're not firm on exactly when. For veterans like us, we should be able to jump in straight away with fast access to the core from like older quest rewards and achievements. Meanwhile, newer players, they should still expect housing at an early stage, but once they get an idea of how the game works and have the momentum to start building their collections. When it comes to obtaining decor that was earned from a quest, there's going to be a way for players to simply buy more of that decor via NPC and account-wide unlock, as opposed to like having to redo that quest on multiple alts. At the moment, there's no PvP inside the home or in neighborhoods. They describe housing as being a sanctuary zone, but I want to throw this thought out there. I think there should be like maybe special rooms we can place down in the house where the sanctuary thing is disabled to allow for duels or even free-for-all PvP, basically player-made arenas. Now that was their words, not even mine, so they must be talking about it to some degree. There's obviously going to be a lot of catch-up developing housing for 20 years of past WoW and the current game all at once. But despite the jokes, no raid tiers are going to be lost. The art team they're kind of improving their pipeline, and they're dedicated towards setting up new assets as well as porting the old ones. Like, it's not going to be a simple copy paste because some older arts, they don't have proper like bottoms to them, and now they need them in case we want to have a room where like everything's like floating and oriented in all sorts of different directions. The dye system in player housing, it's new tech, it's no joke. They're mostly only going to apply to new art, and there's a lot of that, trust me, but there's a but to it. Dyes are a finite resource, and we'll have to rely on a source to get more of them. So they might be crafted, they might be sold from a vendor, who knows? So I suspect scribes and herbalists are going to have a field day with this one. So here's kind of how it was explained to me. Let's say you have a bunch of chairs and you want to paint one of them with a little bit of blue. So when you do that, the chair now has a distinct identity as a chair with some of that blue on it. And now you can put it back into your house chest and it'll show you have this one chair that has blue on it. It'll remember. If you later take that same chair and replace that blue color with, like, let's say red, because you should, that chair now has red, and the blue that you had used, you're not going to get it back. It's considered spent. So what you can do instead, you can take a different chair and dye that red or blue or whatever, making it a unique item. So the game is going to inventory every permutation or variant of decor you happen to dye. Meaning in the case of basic furniture like chairs, you're encouraged to get more chairs. I joked that, hey, this might lead to like armor stuff and weapon dies and stuff, and they were just like, I was told that means nothing, but As for having pets or members of our warband in our warband house, the devs didn't shut down this take either, but they did point out that historically, one of the persistent challenges in World of Warcraft is in pathing, in this case, how NPCs walk around. There's the question of how do you design, script, or train a system of pathing when players have complete control over the environment and can change at any time. And that was all I got. Now let's talk impressions. How was the demo like, and is it a relatable experience compared to how it might be live? The short answer is that this is very, very early. I want to be clear, this was like pre-alpha levels kinds of early, like everything's up for change, and our feedback, it's based on, again, these very early impressions. I can't understate the potential of housing to have really limitless possibilities from a decor standpoint. Even without using the advanced mode with like the clipping and rotating and the other brouhaha, it's not difficult to create for yourself like a very, very cool space, or just a way of expressing yourself as a player. The nature of the demo was very, very overwhelming. Like, we had access to all the room sizes and all the decor available at the time, so it's kind of felt like you're boosting a new class you never played before and then jumping into content in a video game that you've never even played before either. So, you skip the growing pains of starting with nothing and building things up. So like, while you see screenshots of maybe having 50 of everything in these house chests, the reality is we're gonna start housing with like this bare minimum of options, and we'll start growing our collection slowly by buying things and having it made, or discovering a decor we really want to have, and we start going off and chasing for it or crafting it or whatever. This demo, it skipped all the time and gold spent, so it's not going to surprise me if early on we quickly run out of stuff to place. At the moment, you and I, we're just theory crafting our own behavior. Like, okay, how urgently do I need to have this Onyxia head? Is 4 chairs going to be enough for me right now when I might only have access to like one small room? How much dye am I going to need to farm up to make everything look orange? Like, we can't sim a house and know exactly what we want weeks or months ahead of time. Even testing on the alpha or beta, like, that's not going to be enough. It's going to be once we get our hands on this thing for real, when we see what our WoW careers have given us access to, and we see what's ahead in our collection journey, will we really understand the depth and the capability of housing. None of that made sense, I don't think. I think I'm just trying to say our impressions from this demo are purely from a mechanical standpoint, and we couldn't test out, the day-to-day acquisition, the chase, the high of getting things. Like, that would have been better to say. But I'm not going to cut that out because it sounded kind of good. The tools are still in the early stages, the buttons and everything. Placing objects, it's pretty easy in the basic mode though. Stuff slides along the grid nice and easy. We just roll the mouse wheel to rotate objects and even walls. It's like doing Lego stuff. Like, when something clips very badly, the highlights will change to say, hey, you can't do that. You get an error message and everything, but there's also a toggle to override that error and let you place things anyway, pretty much all the time. And it works really well when you want to place objects on shelves. Like, what you see in the B-roll are originally empty shelves with additional items added to them, like racks of books or cups or even larger items that are eventually shrunk down. Filling these shelves, again, it's just like Lego. They snap into place when you have the snapping on, and it feels really satisfying. Advanced mode lets you break all the rules and alter the meaning of objects. Like, if you want some candles to sit on a box, okay, cool, you can take this really tall candle stand, then shrink it down and clip it through that box until you achieve this desired effect of having a small candle sitting on this box. One demo showed off a fireplace whose top happened to clip through a floor the dev set up. They ended up throwing a small pillow on top of the opening, and ta-da! Now it can be seen like a kind of a pet bed. But if they wanted to, they could have instead added another piece of furniture to fully obscure this part that was clipping through. Or they could have just shrunk the whole fireplace a bit, or maybe even raised the floor. So I tried out a common tactic. I think I mentioned this earlier. I tried something out where I wanted to make like a fake window with, some animals just outside in the sun shining down on them. Again, it's all fake. I just use windows to simulate the light, which is why I think it'd be really cool to be able to adjust the intensity of the lighting from the room to individual light producing objects. Like, how cool would it be to have this really scary dressed vibe complete with the violet candlelight, or having a house that's like almost fully blacked out? Between the basic tools and available decor, housing already feels like pretty much infinite content, where the collection of things is only the first step. Advanced mode is, in so few words, a way to turn these objects into art pieces or segments of art pieces, and the possibilities of what players can do have no limit beyond the actual placement limits of 10,000 or so things. But a lot of hilarious and tragic possibilities cross my mind. Like, we're going to see dicks. Sorry, guys. I sat down with devs over lunch and I half joked that, yeah, y'all better have a really good report button for these houses. I described, you guys might have seen this in videos or out at actual museums or whatever, where you see those art pieces and there's a bunch of objects that are seemingly unrelated. They're just kind of arranged in a certain array. But when you look at it from just the right angle, then it becomes this cohesive piece. So I'm like, dude, we're definitely going to see someone do that. And then when we look at it from that correct angle, it's like, oh my God, something super, super offensive. It'll be hilarious and awful at the same time. But anyway, back to the building of stuff. There's still going to be a whole lot of work to be done to make the building experience more intuitive, or even the basic mode. Over time, the team needs to work out how to help players quickly switch between basic and advanced mode to resizing or turning the clipping on and off. Have it all arranged in such a way that players will have a natural flow. It's just like how artists hotkey and switch tools on the fly. It's like WoW combat. There are dedicated hotkeys, though, that can be customized, and I just hope that gets fleshed out more. One thing I want to point out is that while we're in the build mode, which we can just toggle anytime while we're at the house, we're still tethered to our characters. Now, it's not a bad idea to do it that way. It kind of gives us, it lets us maintain a sense of perspective, but I also would want to have a no clip option that lets me hover and just move through objects and walls or whatnot. So in the case of me trying to make some crazy stupid jumping puzzle, I won't have to worry about falling to the bottom and then having to climb all the way back up, but I at least want to be able to toggle the clipping back on so I can test it out for potential visitors. At the moment, as a housing fan and also a total noob at how to do it at the same time, I am pretty intimidated over the idea of starting a brand new house from scratch. From what I've heard, Blizzard kind of wants to give folks a starter house with very basic decor that's already set up to help us out, maybe. So here's a suggestion. How about, what if they offered presets on a room-to-room basis? So these would have some sort of cost to them. I don't know what it'd be, but maybe we can buy a room that's pre-decorated. So for example, we're given or we buy a Zandalari trophy room. We buy the whole thing and then we choose this trophy room template from the housing chest. We drop it down and then boom, it just places the decor and everything that's meant for it. And from there we can edit what we want, change the drapes or change the dyes, tear the whole thing down for just parts, whatever. There are a ton of questions and concerns about that, but I'm just speaking on a high level. What if we had templates for housing noobs that just want to have cool stuff quickly? I think that would be cool. Of course, it'd be awesome if we can share room templates with others online too, so get the community into this instead. In the long term, though, they want housing to feel as part of WoW as okay, hey, we're done with dungeons or raids or delves or whatever. Let's take a moment to maybe redo our transmog because we found something really cool or something like a new item that we want to build a new set around. So with housing, it's going to be okay, I'm done with my stuff for the day, and now I have this very cool trophy thing I want to hang up into the room, and maybe I want to hang Iridikron's head, but then now it's oh, now I'm running out of space in this trophy room. Now maybe I want to expand on it or build another room or add a floor or something like that. Adding a whole ass new activity, especially something that feels so different from typical World of Warcraft, that's scary because chances are good that not everyone's going to want to pick it up, but some people will, and that part is very cool because that threatens to, kind of change the perception we have of this game, even for people that won't want to participate in it at all. I said it earlier, I bet some people are going to have plenty of fun just watching others build houses on a stream or a video, even if they might be too intimidated to do it themselves. We're going to have a new generation of creators coming out from this, from the actual building of stuff to like some sort of crib style tour of the coolest things that come our way to, again, the possibility of uploading templates or selling them, or I don't know. It's going to be like how Mythic Dungeons added this entire new industry to the WoW place. Housing is positioning itself to kind of do the same, just at a different level of competition, I guess. I'm massively excited for the coming months as we learn more, and hopefully we get access to like a PTR of this like way sooner than normal, because it's going to need a lot of feedback from people of different skill and accessibility backgrounds, and I can't begin to imagine how to test this thing for bugs. Like, one wrong placement might crash the client, and how's the server going to know how to roll you back if that happens? Because in theory, I'm going to be able to place like 1,000 objects pretty much in the same space, and then hey, let's see what happens. So it's going to be a wild ride for the rest of 2025, and I hope that you will join me as we learn more and give feedback and talk smack and so much more. And I've talked a lot. That's going to be it. The floor is yours now, dudes. Give me a comment, or leave a comment, whatever, and I'll see you guys for the next thing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.